This science fiction story begins by showing a futuristic world where human technology has reached its peak. Humans have advanced so much that they have begun exploring other planets beyond Earth. It's a time when normal humans and genetically modified humans coexist, and AI-driven robots have established a unique position in human lives. At this point, we are shown a spacecraft that is transporting many people to a hospital. Among them is a lady named Jill, who is genetically advanced. She is not an ordinary human but has undergone several modifications. The hospital is taking these individuals to experiment on them, but Jill has no idea that she possesses special powers, allowing her to generate gods. While she doesn't believe in these powers, she is terrified because the people around her seem suspicious. Jill tries desperately to escape by taking down the security guards, but the security is extremely tight, and she is caught. A device is placed in her mouth to prevent her from using her abilities, and she is sent to the hospital with the other people on the spacecraft. From the beginning, Jill is deeply sad because she has never had the freedom she deserves. We are then shown a large pyramid-like structure in the middle of the city, which is quite surprising because it seems to have appeared recently. It wasn't built by the government or any human organization, it seems to have arrived on its own, possibly due to some teleportation device. The walls of the pyramid are covered with ancient Egyptian rituals, including references to the god Horus. We then learn that Horus has become significantly weaker and his immortality is fading. The Egyptian god Horus has come here in search of immortality for an unlimited period. We are then shown a chest from which Horus emerges, his lower body resembling that of a human and his head resembling that of a bird. He looks quite dangerous. He asks his two companions what he needs to do next. Then, the two companions explain to god Horus that he must enter the body of a human in this world to fully control and perform the ritual. He also needs to form a relationship with a girl who can actually give birth to a god. After the child is born, god Horus will receive a new incarnation, one in which he will be completely immortal. No ritual will have been performed on him, and he will likely become as powerful and immortal as he once was. God Horus understands all this, so he steps out of the pyramid. However, he soon notices two military helicopters approaching, warning him to stop his illegal activities and threatening to open fire. The soldiers in the helicopters have no idea about god Horus's powers. Horus immediately uses his abilities to control the helicopters and destroys both of them, causing them to crash, killing the soldiers inside. Horus then transforms into a bird and flies away toward a nearby city, where he will continue his plan and become immortal forever. We are then introduced to Dr. Alma, who is about to perform some experiments on Jill. Although these experiments are illegal, Dr. Alma hides the truth from everyone and secretly takes Jill to her laboratory. Jill is unaware of what is about to happen to her. Meanwhile, the city news reports on the mysterious pyramid, with many people speculating that it might be a portal to another world. As a result, scientists and military soldiers are working hard to investigate it, but no one has managed to enter the pyramid yet. Additionally, another news report goes viral about a series of murders occurring in the city. No one knows who is committing these murders or how they are happening. At this point, the ruler of the city, named Kyle, addresses his people and tells them that they must find the person responsible for these murders. Kyle asks, who is working on this case? At this point, one of Kyle's men mentions a police officer named Fabi, who has been transferred to investigate the case. Fabi is known to be an excellent officer, and ruler Kyle is eager to catch the killer quickly, as the city's reputation is at stake. Suddenly, another murder takes place, and only one man claims to have seen it. When all the police officers arrive, the man is ready to tell them who committed the murder. They begin taking the man to the spaceship, but something goes wrong. The spaceship suddenly goes out of control and crashes. The man, who had witnessed the murder, manages to escape, but when he gets out, he finds that all the officers inside the spaceship are dead, their bodies seemingly exploded. The man who witnessed the murder returns home, but for some unknown reason, his body also spontaneously explodes, erasing the only evidence of the crime. Now, the investigating officer, Fabi, is unable to understand how so many murders are happening one after another. Fabi begins to consider the possibility that it could be due to a dangerous disease spreading from one person to another. He takes the case very seriously, realizing that this is not a simple matter. Meanwhile, in a laboratory, Dr. Alma is seen conducting a full-body scan on Jill, checking her organs. After receiving the results, Dr. Alma is shocked. She tells Jill that, according to her body, she looks like she's 20 years old, but her organs appear to have been created just a few months ago. Her entire body structure is completely different. Dr. Alma explains that it's possible Jill's old memories were erased, which is why she doesn't remember anything about herself. Dr. Alma notices something unique in Jill, and repeatedly urges her to help with her experiments. In return, she promises Jill full freedom, a special card that would allow her to go anywhere, and a private house for her to live in, where she would be completely secure. Jill, still confused, finds the offer quite appealing because she longs for freedom. Thus, Jill accepts Dr. Alma's offer. Dr. Alma immediately attaches trackers to Jill's nose and several other parts of her body to continuously monitor her and send all the data back to Dr. Alma. Jill, now working with the doctor, steps outside, feeling like she has finally gained her freedom, along with the special card that allows her to travel anywhere. For the first time, Jill feels she has real freedom and decides to fully take advantage of it. We then see Jill traveling and reaching the place of a man named John, who is dressed entirely in black clothing, his face hidden. Jill knows only John in this place, and she has become very close to him. John, however, continuously tells Jill that the environment on this planet doesn't suit him. His powers don't work well here, so he insists that Jill needs to get used to being alone. This frustrates Jill deeply because she has always wanted to stay with John, and she can't bear the idea of loneliness. But Jill's situation forces her to accept this. Meanwhile, we see several containers used to imprison criminals, but for some unknown reason, the entire area begins to fall apart. The containers, one by one, fall off a long bridge and crash, as though a great disaster had occurred. Soon after, police officers arrive to investigate the situation, but the shocking part is that none of the criminals are inside the sleeping pods anymore. The authorities are baffled, unsure of how the criminals disappeared so quickly. Robbie arrives to conduct a deeper investigation into the incident and finds a severed leg belonging to a criminal named Nicholas. He shows this leg to Kyle and the other officers, asking how Nicholas's leg ended up there. The whole city begins to discuss the mystery, and Kyle urges the officers to solve the case as quickly as possible because he has other matters to attend to. In reality, Nicholas is shown to be alive, but he has been kidnapped by none other than God Horus. Nicholas is terrified and begs for his life when he sees God Horus. At this point, God Horus explains that he has tried entering the bodies of 4 to 5 humans, but they were too weak, and as soon as he entered, they exploded. However, Jill's body is different from the others. It possesses power, and he believes that after entering her body, she will survive the process. It becomes clear that the murders happening continuously in the city are being committed by none other than God Horus. He is searching for a perfect and powerful human body that he can possess and control in order to achieve his goal. God Horus then uses a small piece of metal from a train track to approach Nicholas and tells him that he can fix his severed leg, but in exchange, Nicholas must let him take control of his body. Nicholas, left with no choice, agrees. God Horus uses his powers to create a new leg for Nicholas using the piece of metal. Nicholas attempts to escape, but the metal leg is so heavy that he struggles to move properly. God Horus reminds him that without him, Nicholas would be unable to do anything, and in the next moment, God Horus enters Nicholas's body, taking full control. All of Nicholas's injuries heal, and his powers are amplified as a result of God Horus possessing him. Nicholas, now empowered, sets off toward his goal. Meanwhile, Jill is in a hotel room, taking blue-colored medicine and hiding from someone. She is entering the reports from Dr. Alma into her system to help with the investigation, as she promised Dr. Alma that she would assist with the experiments. At the same time, Nicholas is being pursued by several police officers, who are determined to catch him. As he runs, he reaches a dead end near a building. In a desperate attempt to escape, Nicholas jumps from the building. However, since God Horus is inside him, before he hits the ground, God Horus extends large wings, allowing Nicholas to glide safely to a different location. Without God Horus in his body, Nicholas would have been crushed on impact. Back in the city, Ruler Kyle is deeply stressed over the situation with Nicholas. His assistant confirms that the severed leg found earlier indeed belonged to Nicholas. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that Ruler Kyle had been involved in illegal activities, such as killing people and trafficking them to other countries for profit. He had built many illegal businesses around these activities. Nicholas, however, had uncovered Kyle's dark secrets, and to keep him from exposing them, Kyle had framed Nicholas for a false crime and imprisoned him. Now that Nicholas had been freed, he could reveal everything to the authorities, which is why Kyle is so desperate to capture him. Kyle orders his men to capture Nicholas at any cost, even if it means killing him. Meanwhile, Nicholas is at a bar, drinking heavily and talking to God Horus. People around him think he's lost his mind, talking to himself. God Horus, however, tells Nicholas that a woman with white skin and blue hair will soon appear, and that she is the one he is searching for. Nicholas is told to approach her and speak with her. Shortly after, Jill arrives at the bar. Nicholas asks God Horus if this is the woman he was referring to, and God Horus responds affirmatively. For now, Jill goes into a secret room in the bar, where she enters a simulator that simulates a space journey, making it feel as though she's traveling through space. In the simulator, Jill meets John, the man she had grown close to, who wears all black clothing. Jill urges him to return to her, but John coldly tells her that they can never meet again. He explains that the blue pills she has been taking are slowly erasing her past memories, and she may eventually forget even him. He tells her that she is now meant to live among normal humans on Earth, and although she was created by some form of energy, she will learn to adapt and live like a human. Jill feels deeply hurt by John's words, as he is distancing himself from her in such a cold way. The story takes a darker and more intense turn as Jill, frustrated and emotionally drained, continues drinking at the bar. Nicholas, under the influence of God Horus, tries to flirt with her in a very aggressive manner. Jill, clearly not interested, rejects his advances, but Nicholas persists. However, an agent, who had been assigned to keep an eye on Nicholas, is secretly recording everything. Nicholas, encouraged by God Horus, asks Jill if he can drop her off at home, implying that they could go to his room. Jill refuses, but God Horus takes control of Nicholas's body and hypnotizes Jill, making her agree to go with him. Jill ends up getting into Nicholas's car, and they drive off. The agent, who is still trailing them, begins to notice something strange. A red creature is in his car. This creature, named Keys, is a deadly assassin sent by Kyle to eliminate Nicholas. Keys kills the agent and extracts a chip from his brain that contains all the recordings of Nicholas and Jill's conversation. Keys then sets off to find Nicholas. Back at the hotel, God Horus continues to control Nicholas's actions. He makes him take Jill to his room, where he forces himself on her. Jill, in an attempt to protect herself, tries to fight him off, but God Horus hypnotizes her again, making her passive. Eventually, God Horus forces himself on her throughout the night. The next morning, Jill is filled with anger and disgust, but she notices bird feathers on the bed, a sign that God Horus's true form has manifested during the intimate act. The hotel manager, along with security, enters the room, having received reports about Nicholas's presence. After searching the room thoroughly, they find nothing but Jill. They leave, but Jill notices that the painting on the wall has transformed into a door leading to the bathroom. She enters and finds Nicholas asleep in the bathtub, relaxed and unaware of the situation. In a fit of anger, Jill points a gun at him, demanding to know how he managed to turn a normal door into a hidden passage. Nicholas, calm as ever, explains that it wasn't his doing but that of God Horus. Jill, overwhelmed with rage, contemplates killing Nicholas. But when she checks on him again, she realizes that he has stopped breathing, leading her to believe that Nicholas is dead. As Jill, still confused and uncertain, leaves Nicholas behind, she heads straight to Dr. Elma's office, desperate to share everything that has been happening with Nicholas and his strange behavior. Dr. Elma, sensing something is off, asks Jill whether she has ever been involved with anyone romantically before. Jill, however, can't recall much, except for a vague memory of someone named John. She is unable to remember anything else about her past. Dr. Elma, growing concerned about Jill's mental and emotional state, suggests that Jill stop taking the blue pills, which have been erasing her memories. Jill, trusting Dr. Elma, agrees and hands over the pills for testing. Meanwhile, back at Kyle's headquarters, the red creature Keys arrives with the footage of Jill and Nicholas. Kyle, enraged, orders Keys to kill Nicholas immediately. However, Kyle is curious about Jill and asks Keys about her. A scientist at Kyle's facility identifies Jill and explains that she is a genetically modified human. They also reveal that they have a small liquid sample of her body, which they plan to use for further experiments. The plan becomes clear: they need to find Jill and Nicholas and eliminate them both. Keys is given the task of locating Jill and killing her. Jill, unaware of the looming danger, is freely walking around the city when suddenly a special ship from Kyle's organization arrives. The ship's crew captures her and implants a strange device in her mouth to keep her calm. The red creature, Keys, is also on board and approaches Jill, demanding to know where Nicholas is. As Keys moves in to kill Jill, a sudden intervention occurs. God Horus arrives in his full form, floating in the air. He unleashes his power, annihilating everyone in his path and rescuing Jill from her captors. God Horus then destroys the entire spaceship, showing that his only true interest is in Jill. Having protected her from all danger, he places her in a secure location, free from immediate threats. Despite everything happening around her, Jill finds herself caught in an increasingly dangerous and complex situation, as God Horus continues to control events. God Horus, now inside the room with Nicholas, begins to discuss a troubling idea. He considers erasing Jill's memories, as she has learned far too much about their plans. Nicholas, feeling trapped and fearful of God Horus's power, agrees with whatever God Horus suggests, knowing that even a small mistake could lead to his death. Nicholas, though confused, follows God Horus's commands without hesitation. Meanwhile, Jill finds herself in a cold, snow-covered area near a large organization called Central Park, where the temperature is dangerously low. As she explores, her attention is drawn to a glowing door. Two people approach it, seemingly attempting to use it as a teleportation device, but their skeletons are soon revealed outside the door, indicating they were killed by some unseen force. Jill is shocked by the gruesome sight when, just behind her, John appears. Seeing John fills Jill with happiness, and he begins explaining that the glowing door is actually a portal from another world. He tells Jill that he's come from there but will have to return soon, as the portal will close forever. John also advises Jill to continue learning from humans and their ways, encouraging her to meet more people and experience the world around her. Jill, feeling conflicted but trusting John, opens up about her relationship with Nicholas and how close she has become to him. John listens without anger, assuring her that learning from others will be beneficial for her. At the same time, Dr. Elma arrives at the hotel, eager to meet Jill. She approaches the receptionist and begins asking about her. The receptionist replies that he doesn't know anyone who isn't genetically modified. Dr. Elma, undeterred, informs him that Jill is genetically modified and not a typical human. Overhearing this conversation, John becomes agitated. He argues with Dr. Elma, insisting that Jill is as human as anyone else and that she has lived well among humans. Dr. Elma quickly recognizes John as the person who had been with Jill previously and suspects that something tragic has happened to Jill, something John is hiding. After their brief exchange, John leaves, but shortly after, another investigator named Fabi arrives. Fabi, also searching for Jill, proposes that he and Dr. Elma team up to find her, believing that their combined efforts could lead to her discovery. As both Dr. Elma and Fabi start to align in their search for Jill, it becomes clear that Jill's existence and her connections to Nicholas and God Horus are drawing the attention of more powerful individuals, each with their own agenda. Now, Dr. Alma was also busy searching for Jill. Kale had arrived at the location with his assistant, where he was making his red creature, Kuais, more powerful. He immediately told Kuais that he must kill Nicholas at any cost. Kuais was given a severed part of Nicholas's body to consume, which made him even stronger. Now, Kuais was determined to kill Nicholas. Meanwhile, Jill and Nicholas were in their hotel room when they noticed that the same red creature was trying to enter their room to kill Nicholas. The good thing was that John had arrived in his car and immediately told them to get in. Without wasting any time, Nicholas and Jill rushed into the car, and they immediately took off. However, Kuais, now much stronger, tried to catch up with them but his hand was broken in the process. He had become extremely powerful and dangerous, and he relentlessly pursued John's car. Soon after, Dr. Alma and Frank arrived at the scene, noticing that Kuais was trying to kill John. They decided to follow him to uncover the truth, so they also got in their car and pursued them. John, Jill, and Nicholas were still being chased by Kuais, along with several police officers who were determined to capture and kill Nicholas and Jill at all costs. But John knew exactly where to go, so he drove straight to the portal area in the center of the city, where God Horus's pyramid was located. He drove into the pyramid, which took them somewhere else entirely. Kale, along with his people, arrived near the pyramid, which was emitting a lot of radiation. Kale believed that this pyramid must be from aliens, possibly sent to Earth to take revenge. He decided to touch the pyramid to uncover the truth. As soon as he touched it, he was sucked inside, and in the next moment, the large pyramid disappeared, leaving everyone confused about where it had gone. Kale's people had no idea what had happened. Meanwhile, John, who was with them, said that his end had come. He would now travel to another dimension and spend his life there, as this environment was not suitable for his species. Now, John gives Jill a red-colored medicine that will transform her completely into a normal human. This means that Jill will forget everything from her past and become an ordinary human, with all her genetically modified traits disappearing. John was happy knowing that Jill was now fully protected. After giving her the medicine, he went into the portal and disappeared. Jill, deeply saddened by John's departure, sat down. Just then, the same red-colored creature, Kuais, appeared behind Nicholas and had entered the room. As Kuais lunged toward Nicholas to attack him, Nicholas commanded God Horus, who was within him, to kill Kuais. God Horus immediately emerged from Nicholas's body and used his magical powers to destroy the red creature. Kuais was no match for God Horus's powers and was completely destroyed. Shortly after, the large pyramid, which belonged to god Horus, appeared at the scene, and from within it, Kale's dead body fell. Kale had been badly defeated and killed. Now, god Horus approached Nicholas and told him that his time had come. God Horus bestowed a bit of his power on Nicholas, allowing him to lift his metal leg easily and become even stronger than humans. God Horus then went to Jill and told her one last time that she was entrusted with his possession and that she should take care of it. After that, he spread his massive wings and flew toward the pyramid. Jill's memories started to flash back as she was forgetting everything from her past, including Nicholas. Jill no longer recognized Nicholas. In the next moment, both of them were teleported to Earth, and the pyramid had disappeared. Police officers captured Nicholas, as he still had a sentence left to serve. He was being taken to jail by Dr. Alma. Nicholas gazed at the jail, now being led there by Dr. Alma. But here, it was revealed that Nicholas had truly fallen in love with Jill. Sadly, Jill had forgotten everything about him. A year later, Nicholas was freed from jail, and he immediately went to meet Jill. When he arrived, he saw that Jill had a beautiful son. There was also a strange bird-like creature around the child. The bird looked exactly like god Horus. Nicholas immediately realized that Jill's son was a reincarnation of god Horus, who would eventually fully transform into god Horus. However, Jill still didn't recognize Nicholas, but because of their shared bond, they became friends. And thus, our adventurous story comes to an end.